In the heart of New York City, where graffiti was more than art, it was survival. One man rose to define a movement, Michael Tracy, famously known as Tracy 168. His name didn't just ride the subway trains of New York, it became a beacon for an entire cultural revolution. This is the story of a pioneer, the king of wild style. Michael Tracy was born on Valentine's Day, 1958, a fitting date for someone whose life and art were fueled by passion, creativity, and raw energy. Growing up in the chaotic streets of New York City, Tracy split his time between Manhattan and the Bronx. His Irish, Italian, and Puerto Rican heritage exemplified the melting pot that defined the city's cultural identity. His upbringing was shaped by the colorful, gritty environment around him. Art came natural to Tracy. As a child living near the Bronx Zoo, he sketched animals to the distant sound of roaring lions. By the age of 4, he was already drawing on the walls of his home, unknowingly laying down the foundation for a career that would leave an indelible mark on urban art. But Tracy's childhood wasn't all creativity and inspirations. The New York of 1960s and the 70s was a dangerous and unpredictable place. Gangs like the Black Spades, Savage Nomads, and Ghetto Brothers controlled the streets, marking their territory with graffiti tags and spreading fear. Many young boys joined the gangs for safety and belonging. But Tracy chose a different path. He didn't need a gang. He had art. His talent earned him respect, and he stayed independent, in a world where survival often depended on aligning with something bigger. During the Vietnam War era, Tracy witnessed many older graffiti writers, including his friends, being drafted into the military. As their names vanished from the streets, graffiti became his way of both escaping reality and declaring his own existence. For Tracy, every tag was a way of saying, "I'm here and you can't erase me." In 1969, at just 11 years old, he tagged his first subway train. The same year, the New York Mets won the World Series. Inspired by the energy of the city, Tracy chose his last name as his tag and added the number 168, simply because he liked the way it sounded. What began as a simple tag soon evolved into a vibrant, large-scale masterpieces. By the early 1970s, Tracy had evolved from simply tagging to becoming one of the pioneers of creating pieces on the exterior of trains. He and his friends initially started tagging between the cars, but when they discovered that graffiti on the sides of the subway trains would stay intact and run, it was a game changer. This realization sparked a revolution in the graffiti scene. What began as a simple tag quickly transformed into elaborate pieces and full card designs, turning subway trains into rolling works of art and solidifying graffiti in the New York City subway system. The subway system became Tracy's stage, a place where he could push the boundaries of his creativity. The D line in the Bronx was his favorite spot, and it was there he earned the title, King of the D line. Tracy transformed the cold industrial metal of subway cars into vibrant explosions of color and style. His work was bold, revolutionary, and unapologetic. He expanded his reach painting at the Kingston Avenue layups in Brooklyn, a hidden treasure for graffiti artists. This stretch of 100 trains guaranteed that his pieces would be seen by thousands during rush hour. Tracy didn't just write his name, he built a legacy, collaborating with legends like Riff 170 and Master Cool. Tracy's art was not without risk. He often spoke of the dangers of graffiti, from dodging police to avoiding the deadly third rail. One of the most tragic moments in his life was the loss of 11-year-old friend, MG1, who fell off the back of a train and broke his neck. MG1 became the first graffiti writer to die for the art. For Tracy, this loss was a sombering reminder of the risks they face, but it also strengthened his resolve. Graffiti was more than art. It was survival, rebellion, and a way for him to tell the world his story. In 1975, Tracy changed the game forever with the creation of wild style. More than just a style of graffiti, Wild style was a movement defined by intricate interlocking letters, bold colors, and dynamic designs. For Tracy, wild represented his untamed, rebellious life, while style reflected his creativity and the morals he was raised with. Wild style wasn't just about graffiti, it was a lifestyle. Tracy formed the Wild Style crew, bringing together the best of the best: graffiti writers, rappers, skaters, and anyone who excelled at their craft. Together they transformed walls, trains, and rooftops into breathtaking works of art. They scream individuality and freedom. Tracy's influence extended beyond graffiti into hip-hop culture. In 1983, he designed the iconic Wild Style logo for the groundbreaking film Wild Style, a bold interlocking masterpiece that became synonymous with the graffiti movement. Although the film was a global success, Tracy felt overlooked, a recurring theme in his career, as often others profited from the culture he helped build. Despite this, his work remained a source of inspiration for generations. By the late 1970s, Tracy had transitioned into commercial art, painted murals, storefronts, and memorial walls. His work entered galleries and museums worldwide, including the Brooklyn Museum and the New York Historical Society. Critics celebrated his innovative techniques, from 3D design to cartoon characters, which he is believed to be the first to introduce to the scene, which elevated graffiti to a respected art form. Even in galleries, Tracy stayed true to his roots, famously attempting to modify one of his pieces during an exhibit, much to the alarm of the museum staff. For Tracy, art was never static. It was alive and constantly evolving. Tracy often spoke about the deeper meaning of graffiti. "I'm the voice of the person," he said. "I write it on the wall so they have to read it and go." That said something. For him, graffiti was about truth, rebellion, and connection. He believed it was the voice of the people, a way to challenge authorities and tell stories that needed to be heard. Tracy's pieces weren't just about making his name known. They were about making a statement. Michael Tracy passed away, but his Wild Style lives on. He wasn't just a graffiti artist. He was a revolutionary, a trailblazer, and a legend. His life was a testament to the power of art to inspire, transform, and endure. Tracy's name will never fade. It will forever ride the trains of history and the hearts of those he influenced. Rest in peace, Tracy 168. Your Wild Style changed the world, and your legacy will never be erased.